Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Magduit and we're here again with another rack. Although actually it's two racks this time, but they're kind of doing like similar but different things. Obviously we'll get into it. But yeah, let's see what's going on here. So this week I decided to focus on dynamic EQing and making it a little bit more approachable and exciting for people who don't do it very often. I know that when I first started using EQs, I never used dynamic EQs because they're pretty confusing to set up, and I just didn't understand why you would want to use it or how you would want to use it. So I decided to make these two racks. So the racks that are coming out this week are Mag Micro Soothe and Mag Micro Clarity. Of course, I just read those backwards, but yeah, Mag Micro Soothe and Mag Micro Clarity. I'm going to be switching the name at the beginning to all the racks to Mag just to make it a little bit easier. That way you should just be able to like type that into Control F or whatever your DAW's search engine is and pop it up without having to type in like Magduit. But yeah, so what are these racks? So let's start off with Soothe, and then I will show you how that works, and then we'll go to Clarity and we'll talk about that for a bit and I'll show you how that works. So I definitely am utilizing the ideologies that Soothe has, which usually entails some level of resonance reduction. So the idea with this rack is we're going to be trying to take away sounds that are unpleasant to the ear or that sound harsh or whatever word fits that description for you. So there's 6 knobs in this rack. I'm going to go over them all first, and then we'll see an example of it in action and how to set it up. So the first knob is really straightforward. It's AMT, or amount, and basically it is the amount of reduction that the Soothe is going to be enacting, or in this case, the single band dynamic EQ. Now, the idea with these is there's only going to be one band per EQ. So that way, you can first of all feel more comfortable using it, but also you can just easily duplicate them and or add another one if you want to remove more resonance peaks. So yeah, first knob is the amount, pretty straightforward. Second knob is the frequency. So this is going to set the frequency which you're going to be reducing. I'll get into a little bit how that all works. It also sets the frequency for the envelope that detects the frequency to be reduced. So it is basically only going to act upon that frequency. And there's a couple of settings that will go along with that, but let's come back to that. The Q value, this is going to adjust the Q value of this frequency. So depending on which direction you put this, it will either be a bigger, wider Q, which usually ends up, well, I think smaller is wider and bigger is more precise, but we'll make sure when we get to the test area over here. But for now, yeah, that's what that does. It either increases or decreases the width of the range of frequencies that are being reduced dynamically. This next knob is the frequency solo knob. So this knob is here so that way you can listen to what is being reduced. That way it's really easy that you can use your ears and focus more on using your ears to reduce these resonances rather than your eyes or something like that, because it's hard to hear with your eyes. So yeah, we're going to get into how useful this is in a bit. We've also got the envelope sense. So this is going to adjust the sensitivity of this envelope that is detecting these frequencies that you want to remove. So let's say you have the Q value set the way you want, but you're not quite able to get it to reduce as much as you would like. You can turn this up and it will increase the sensitivity and make it reduce more. And then last but not least, I threw in a little nice EQ here just because I felt like I wanted all these knobs filled, and this is something that I sometimes will want to do when I am doing things like this. It's a reduce mud EQ, and basically it's just boosting the highs a little bit and lowering the low mids, which tend to get a little bit muddy. So yeah, that's what the rack is. That's what all the knobs do. Now let's jump into how it all works. So first off, let's do a little demonstration on what it sounds like with and without the Soothe. So without it, brace your ears. It's going to be a little harsh. So here we go. Got some really aggressive high frequencies there. But then with the Soothe, it sounds like this. So it's obviously reducing the intensity of those. So let's go ahead and turn off all of these, and we are going to load this up. So, oh, and of course I loaded up the wrong one, but that's okay. Just gonna double click the other one here and delete that one. All right, so how does this work? So the first thing I would usually do is turn on this little frequency solo knob. This is going to let you listen to the frequency that you want to reduce. And then I will adjust the Q value a little bit. Sometimes I don't have to, but I like to periodically just turn this up a little bit. Just so we can get it to peak a little bit, feel a little bit more resonant. And then what I'll do is I will sweep with this frequency knob, and I'm going to be looking for a frequency that sounds harsh, that I don't like. So like probably right there, you can hear how like just, like painful it is. So what we do is we leave the frequency where it is, and then we turn off this frequency solo, and then we can just increase the amount. And then if you want, you can adjust the Q value as well. And I was right, the smaller Q value is a wider shape. And then let's say we want that to reduce more, but keep the same Q value, we can just increase the sensitivity. And then this is what it sounds like before, after. And you can hear how it's a little bit less harsh. The idea is to obviously make these a little bit, I shouldn't say obviously, but the goal was to make it very soft in the way that it is attenuating. So hopefully it's not taking away too much, especially considering the goal of it to be dynamic. So yeah, the idea with that is you can just stack up as many as you want. So let's try and find another frequency here that sounds bad. Maybe right there. You can hear that. That sounds a little bit eh. So we can unsolo. And then let's try one more, and then we'll try out this reduce mud function as well. So let's go ahead and solo. Thinking way up there sounds a little bit harsh. Make sure to adjust that sensitivity while I'm doing this. That way it just hits exactly the way I want it to. But yeah, and then of course we have the reduce mud EQ. So let's go ahead and just listen to what that does when we turn this up. If you listen to that second the second listen to the low mids of that. Definitely a little bit cleaner. So yeah, that is the goal of that. So yeah, with and without, let's go ahead and turn it off again. A little harsh. What about with it? Nice and clean. So yeah, I built this to hopefully get you guys excited about dynamic EQs, especially if you don't feel like downloading like a third-party VST or one that has like a ton of buttons and a ton of things to look at and pay attention to. This will let you just one band at a time find those resonances, and then you can just keep duplicating them as much as you want. So that kind of leads us to the next rack. So that one was based on the Soothe was based all on reducing, frequencies that we really don't want. Those resonant frequencies that just sound like painful. This clarity has the opposite effect, where we're trying to find good resonances that we like and boost them. So let's go ahead and just do the same thing on our example track here. I'm going to show you with and without, or without and with, and then we will set it up as well. Just subtly kind of giving it some fresh air, some vibe, some very much good vibe. And you can hear how it just kind of pushes it forward in the mix a little bit. Although there isn't it's just the one track, but you know what I mean. Like, it's pushing it forward in the good resonances. So let's go ahead and set up some clarity racks. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to load this up, and we're going to solo, and we're going to boost the EQ value a little bit. Might want to remove that one, but let's find one that we like. Kind of like that one. So we will turn that off and turn up the amount. Okay, let's go ahead and load up a couple more. Let's do another one, find a nice frequency. In this case scenario, I normally wouldn't do this on this kind of an instrument in the mix of a song, but just to prove the point, we have this kind of low mid-ish sound going on here. And it's not bad. Like, it sounds pretty good. In context of a song, though, I'd probably have something else filling that space, but because we just have this one instrument, let's go ahead and try and boost this a little bit. Now you can see we're getting the amount almost maxed out, and we're really not getting a whole lot of the desired effect, because I kind of want to boost that a little bit more, especially when it's not just that little kicky kind of pluck part of the beginning. I want it to really hit. So there we go. Once again, like, you can see here that it's slightly boosting even when the kick isn't hitting, which is kind of a desired effect. With the envelope sensitivity, it's one of those things where the goal with clarity is really not to push stuff too hard. You want it to sound clear. You don't really want it to like add this like really ridiculous resonance that you then have to go back and remove. So one thing I've noticed is the way that this was designed, it's a little bit less aggressive as the Soothe, because once again, like, if you're removing something, usually you can be a little bit more aggressive because you're EQing down, which usually has very minimal negative effects. But when you're boosting with an EQ, it's always important to try and be as not gentle as possible, but just as conservative as possible, because you're removing headroom from the mix. So don't be too afraid to stack these up a lot. The goal with all of this was to be very subtle and lightweight, so that way you can just duplicate as many of these as you feel you need and not worry about any kind of CPU issues or stuff like that. It's very light on the CPU. In fact, let's go ahead and let's just see what happens when we drag one in. So with it playing or without it playing, it's what, sitting at like 13, so 10 maybe. So when I drag one in, it goes up about 1%. So it's pretty chill. It's really not that crazy. But yeah, let's go ahead and do one last frequency. So maybe with this one, what I'll do is I'll make it a little bit more wide, like a wider Q value. That way it's just kind of doing a general 1K boost. So let's go ahead and turn up the amount, reduce the Q value, increase the sensitivity. And then maybe we'll also just reduce the mud on this one just to kind of get rid of some of the craziness in the low end that we just added. Nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This week's kind of quick, but it's also, I think, really exciting and helpful. I hope you guys have a lot of fun using these racks. I had a lot of fun building them. And yeah, I guess stay tuned to the next episode. I have a lot of stuff coming out in the near future, especially paid for type stuff. My goal with a lot of the paid stuff is to make it available for everyone, not just Ableton users. So expect a lot of samples and expect a lot of things that are sample related. With all of that being said, I appreciate you all, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I will see you in the next episode. Peace.